If you love coffee, you're in good company. I used to love it too. The warmth, the aroma, that first silky sip that feels like sunrise on your tongue. And if you love coffee as much as I did, put a coffee emoji in the comments. For me, with a history of irritable bowel disease, coffee's a rare indulgence I usually skip except in rare circumstances. But for those of you who tolerate it, let's talk about why coffee is so desirable in the first place. And for the science curious, when to drink it to squeeze out the most benefit without poking the hornet's nest of your hormones or your gut. First, why is coffee so lovable? Blame and thank adenosine. Throughout the day, adenosine accumulates in your brain and makes you sleepy. Caffeine blocks adenosine's receptors, A1 and A2A, which lifts that sleep pressure, increases alertness. And because A2A and dopamine D2 receptors crosstalk, can sharpen motivation and mood. Translation, your brain's go circuits get a little louder, and your daily chores are much easier to accomplish. That's part neurochemistry, part magic. Another reason we love it, ritual. The brain pairs that morning mug with predictability and comfort, your own mini habit loop. And yes, the taste matters. Coffee is a symphony of hundreds of compounds, including polyphenols, like chlorogenic acids that carry antioxidant activity and may influence glucose and lipid metabolism. It's not just liquid caffeine. It's a botanical brew with bioactive molecules. So when should you drink it? Let's start with the hormone you wake up with, cortisol. Cortisol naturally rises 30 to 45 minutes after you open your eyes. It's called the cortisol awakening response. If you stack caffeine on top of that peak, you can nudge cortisol even higher. That's not bad per se, but if you're sensitive to jitters, anxiety, or blood pressure spikes, it's worth dodging the overlap. A practical rule. Wait at least an hour, often 60 to 90 minutes, after waking before your first cup. That lets your body ride the natural cortisol wave first. But what about blood sugar? There's a neat and humbling study from the University of Bath. I know that's a heck of a name for a university, but I digress. The study found that after a night of disrupted sleep, a strong black coffee before breakfast made the glucose response to that breakfast about 50% worse. Same people, same breakfast, but when coffee came first, glucose control took a hit. The simple fix, eat first, then coffee. I like that framing. Fuel your body, then fire up the brain. Now the question everyone secretly hopes I'll say yes to. Can coffee help you burn fat? The honest, nuanced answer is, it can help, especially around exercise. But it won't outrun your lifestyle. Meta-analyses suggest that acute caffeine, often 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram, about 200 to 400 milligrams for many adults, increases fat oxidation during sub-maximal aerobic exercise. Think of it as shifting your fuel mix slightly more toward fat during a workout. It's not a license to skip nutrition or sleep, but it's a real manageable nudge. There's also eye-catching early work that coffee may stimulate brown fat, the calorie-burning space heater tissue have in our upper back and neck. A small scientific report study used thermal imaging and saw a temperature rise over brown fat after coffee versus water. That's mechanistic and preliminary, not a weight loss protocol, but it adds to the plausibility that coffee can modestly boost thermogenesis. Okay, timing tips you can actually use. Number 1. If you tolerate coffee and want performance or fat use benefits, have it 30 to 60 minutes before aerobic exercise. That's the timing used in much of the sports science literature. Dose sweet spot, 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram for a 70 kilogram person. That's roughly 200 to 400 milligrams of caffeine. And a typical cup of coffee is somewhere between 70 to 200 milligrams. So it's going to depend on the coffee that you're drinking to get those numbers. Start low, adjust to tolerance. Number 2. For everyday mornings, consider eating first, especially after a rough night's sleep. Then sip your coffee. Your pancreas will thank you. Number 3, to protect sleep. Remember, caffeine's half-life averages approximately 5 hours but can range widely. Some people metabolize it slowly. A conservative rule is to avoid caffeine within 8 to 10 hours of bedtime. Longer if you know you're sensitive. Personalized metabolism, medications, smoking status, pregnancy, and genetics all shift that window. Speaking of genetics, your CYP1A2 gene influences how fast you clear caffeine. In classic work, slow metabolizers CYP1A2-1F carriers who drank more coffee had higher risk of non-fatal heart attacks, while fast metabolizers did not show that association. It doesn't mean coffee causes heart attacks. It means your personal biology matters when you push dose or timing. If coffee makes you anxious, tachycardic, or wrecks your sleep, listen to your body and scale back. What about hydration, they may ask me. Doesn't coffee dehydrate you? In habitual coffee drinkers, moderate intake hydrates about as well as water. The diuretic effect is real but small, and your body adapts. So your morning mug still counts towards fluids. Just don't replace all of your water with lattes. Gut talk. Coffee can stimulate gastrin and gastric acid secretion, and it's a true colonic stimulant. For many, that's a feature. For some, a bug. If you have reflux, IBS flare-ups, inflammatory bowel disease, or just a sensitive stomach, coffee may be your kryptonite. That's me. I love the idea of coffee, but my gut says not today. So if you're sensitive, try smaller dosages, drink with food, consider a darker roast or a cold brew, or choose decaf, or bow out entirely. Your gut gets a vote. Lipids and Brewing Method. This one's underappreciated. Unfiltered coffee, like French press, Turkish, some espresso styles, contains ditropines, caffeol, and kawiol that can raise LDL cholesterol. Paper filters catch most of these. A meta-analysis of randomized trials showed that unfiltered coffee raised total and LDL cholesterol. Filtered coffee had minimal effect. If your LDL is elevated and you are concerned, switch to paper filtered brew. It's an easy win. But if you know anything about the Metabolic Health Doc, I've shared in many videos that total and LDL cholesterol are not the best predictor of heart disease. But if you didn't get that memo and are still concerned, have your doctor do an NMR test which checks for LDL particle sizes as well to determine if you have LDL particles that favor large, buoyant particles versus the small ones, since large particles tend to be more favorable. I know that's getting into the weeds a little bit, but I just didn't want to create confusion and suggest that the LDL cholesterol was that important. Let's talk iron absorption. Coffee can block non-heme iron absorption from meals. Think plants or supplements. In classic tracer studies, a cup of coffee with a meal cut iron absorption substantially. Drinking it an hour before didn't impair absorption, but an hour after still did. If you're iron deficient or a menstruating athlete or a pregnant patient, separate coffees from iron-rich meals and supplements. Vitamin C with meals can help too. But doc, is decaf pointless? Not at all. Decaf still contains polyphenols, and in one small randomized crossover study, decaf actually increased the satiety hormone PYY more than caffeinated coffee. If appetite control is your goal and your nervous system prefers calm, decaf may be your friend. How much is too much? The most healthy adults keep total caffeine under 400 milligrams a day. That's roughly 2 large strong coffees or 3 moderate mugs, depending on brew. Remember, espresso shots, cold brew concentrates, and energy drinks can sneak you over the line fast. If you're pregnant, have uncontrolled hypertension, arrhythmias, anxiety disorders, reflux or GI disease, or you're just sensitive, be more conservative and talk to your clinician. Let me bring this home through the root cause lens I always wear. If your energy is low, coffee is a helpful tool, but it's not the engine. The engine is sleep quality, nutrient-dense food, metabolic flexibility, stress resilience, movement, healthy light exposure, and a gut that isn't inflamed. Coffee can amplify a good day or mask a tired one. Use it to complement the fundamentals, not cover for them. Actionable takeaways you can try this week. If you're a morning coffee person, delay the first cup 60 to 90 minutes to respect your cortisol rhythm. If you had a rough night, eat first, then coffee. Want a fat burn nudge? Try a small to moderate dose, start around 100 to 200 milligrams, 30 to 60 minutes before a steady state cardio day. See how you feel. Don't chase bigger dosages. More isn't more. If LDL is a concern and is high, switch to paper filtered coffee, while not forgetting to check those LDL particle sizes we discussed previously. If iron is low, keep coffee away from meals and supplements. If your gut is fuzzy, consider decaf, darker roast, or just bow out entirely. You're not missing moral virtue by skipping coffee. Keep caffeine earlier in the day and audit your sleep. If coffee is stealing deep sleep, it's taxing the very system you're trying to energize. I'll end where I began. I'm a carnivore who respects what plants can do to us and for us. Coffee is a plant potion with power, but for some, it's a daily joy with benefits. For others, it's a beautiful thing best admired from a distance. Choose your poison wisely. And if you choose coffee, use timing and brewing to make it work for you, not against you. I'll see you in the next video.